Hi guys, it's Mr. Yaksik here. Today's mini lesson is going to focus on finding a way to put fractions into simplest form and then finding the best way to put fractions into simplest form. So we've talked about finding equivalent fractions and we've talked about simplifying fractions. If you can divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, that would be a perfect way to simplify a fraction. So right now we're working with 32/40ths. That's kind of a complex fraction. You can't really picture 32/40ths of a sandwich if you close your eyes. So that's what I tell the kids simplifying is. It's just making your fraction easier to work with, easier to picture. And most of the students will be able to look at this, and the one golden rule is if your numerator and your denominator are even, you can always divide by 2. So 32 divided by 2, 40 divided by 2 is going to be 16/20ths. And then I ask the kids, well, is it in simplest form? Well, the numerator and the denominator are still both even, so we can continue to simplify. Divided by 2, divided by 2, and we'll get 8/10ths. Now, our numerator and our denominator are still both even, so the kids should know we can divide by 2 again, and that's going to equal 4/5. Now, I'm looking here now. I see 4 is even, but I have an odd number for my denominator. It's 5, and 5 also, we've been over, is a prime number, so its only factors are 1 and 5. The numerator and the denominator can no longer be divided by the same number, so we are in simplest form. Now that would took us 1, 2, 3 times to divide. What I want the kids to start trying to see is that 32/40ths, if we do this again, we can get to 4/5 only dividing once, and that's by finding something called the greatest common factor. So you're going to have to figure out what the greatest common factor is between our numerator and our denominator. So we have to list all of the factors for 32 and 40. So all of our factors for 32 would be 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 4 and 8. For 40, our common factors would be 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 5 and 8. So then we look, and I have them circle all of the factors they have in common. So we have 1s in common, 2s in common, 4s in common, and 8s in common. So then we have to look and we have to see which factor they have in common that's the greatest. And if you look at the number 8, so we're going to divide our numerator and our denominator by 8, and we'll get 32 divided by 8 is 4, 40 divided by 8 is 5, and we got our simplest form in one step. Hope this helps.